Hi! Welcome to Family for Fun Vlog. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Again, I'm Aini and
this is Barry.
So
it's November 2024, beginning of November.
And yay! It's our new update.
We wanted to give you an update that we got our detailed drawing. So if you remember from the previous video, we were going over, which I guess was some kind of a preliminary type drawing, where we were just making sure that before we signed off that those room sizes and everything looked good, that we checked everything that we could check on that level of drawing. So with these drawings, I guess there's some difference between the final printed construction documents that they give to the contractor, but these are very close. They're just a very detailed version of those. And then what's going on right now with the architects? What are they doing?
We are, okay. For some reason, I am spaced out. But anyway, so yeah, they are processing for building permit for now. And while they're processing the building permit, we are reviewing our stuff that we have to change and for like detailed drawing and all of that stuff.
So apparently the architect can take these initial detailed drawings and submit them to the local authorities so they can check everything with some, I don't know, some estimated costs or something. There's a bunch of stuff that we really haven't totally determined yet, but apparently they can push through a detailed version that may change a little bit for whatever reason, which is great because while they're doing that, we even have even more time. We can go through the current detailed / construction drawings, as we'll describe to you in a moment what we're checking, but that other process can go in parallel, so we're not waiting till we're done with our review to submit it. So that's what's going on with the architect now. So we're just doing a very careful review. Again, on the last video, we talked about how we went through, we measured everything, we found a couple of minor little errors that they had made, and so it's getting every more detailed final drawing phase, it gets more and more serious that someone may end up making a mistake and then you end up having it built from that mistaken measurement or something. So we're doing our very careful review now, just because we know we have to completely get rid of as many mistakes as possible before we end up in construction and they're pouring cement based on these plans.
Exactly.
So this detailed one, it starts off with the floor plan, so very much like the preliminary one that we saw. And there are some finish items, so he'll have like lines in there that say like, this is made out of wood or this is a certain kind of tile. And then like they put there's so many pages, how many, like 72 pages?
I think it's, something like that, 70, I don't know, 74, I think.
Yeah, a lot of pages to go through. And so there's a whole one that's just for the shape and the direction of the tiles. So, right, so then you might have an opinion on, like, for example, there were these, he specified ceramic tiles. We know there's an option for porcelain tiles. And so like looking at those kind of things, we didn't even have input for the architect on that. He just, we're putting in ceramic tiles.
Yes.
So we have no idea, is that good, bad? We should research that a little bit. In the direction of tiles as well. So you probably know that if you have like rectangular tiles, they might, a certain direction might have an input on the way your house looks.
Yep.
So these finished items like lights in the ceiling and things like that, those things are finished items that these detailed drawings might include or will include. All these versions of the drawings, some of them include wood, or this is wood or this is aluminum or something, but like you have to make sure that as you go towards construction that these details are noted somewhere. And then you might end up being surprised if you look and you're like, what? Who said ceramic tiles or something, right?
Exactly.
I mean, it might be the best option, but we hadn't said anything about ceramic tiles.
Yeah, you just have to look carefully and check carefully so that way it doesn't show up at the end of a drawing. Oh, why? Yeah, exactly.
Why did this truckload of ceramic tiles show up?
Yep.
So then there's other pages in there. So about electrical, like what electrical runs to what lights. And then plumbing is another thing. And then there's purely structural thing. Like just today, as we're working halfway through the drawings, we noticed a lot of like, references to the size of the rebar and the density of the cement or whatever. And we're obviously not going to do too much weighing in on those type of pages, but what else? The next thing I was going to say was that understanding, just in our process, was just understanding the process. Like we didn't understand blueprints, and I don't know if you're like us, but you open up a blueprint, you're like, almost total Greek. Maybe you can see how long a wall is. Oh, I understand that. It's so many, meters. But when you get into the blueprint, it gets to be a little bit, jargon of the profession, And of course, with the electrical stuff, it's technical, and the plumbing stuff. So what we did was, and we mentioned this in our last video, is we just pulled up YouTube and just say like, hey, how to read blueprints, and then a whole bunch of people are out there explaining in regular lay people's language how to read a blueprint. That's how I learned, just, in the last 2 months. And then the same thing, you just Google, residential home plumbing design, residential electrical design, and they'll give you some basic idea. And then at least when you open up those blueprints, these 72 blueprints that they sent us, at least you're like, oh, wait, this is from the video. Check it out. This is what a switch looks like in the electrical design. So I would encourage you to do that, because I have no idea where to start if I just open up a blueprint. I'd just be like, I don't know, and give it back to the architects. Here, you read this,
Exactly.
So you just what we were doing was that during these downtimes when the architect was making some updates that we had given him to do, we would just do, maybe like an hour or half an hour of YouTube, Google something on YouTube, and then let's just learn something. And then by the end, after a few months, you kind of know a lot of the standard stuff.
Yep.
So yeah, the whole thing is we're going room by room through the design. And the first thing I was going to ask was that today's guys make a mistake. If you just don't even look at the room sizes, if you don't look at the hallway is too thin or something, it could be like a mistake on the architect side. They could have just cut and pasted. They have a whole team of assistants. This is pretty sure what we're seeing is that even the great architect, they have like, junior architects, and they go, hey, do this X, Y, and Z on the second floor, and when you're done, let me know. And so if that architect doesn't have a good quality review, someone's going to cut and paste something, and then it's going to end up being wrong, and then it's just going to keep breezing through the system until it ends up pouring concrete on that thing, So we're just double checking everything to reduce those kind of just simple errors, basic errors. And we're checking our room sizes, the width of the hallways. One thing, for example, would be the height of the car park. So I was thinking, we're not going to have a van. We're not planning on buying a van. But a lot of our folks in our family and transportation we've used, it's actually these common multi-person vans. And so I just looked up that model on Toyota's website in the Philippines, and it has the height of it. And I'm like, okay, so our car, overhang parking structure, you don't want it to be unusable by vans. Yep. So I just had that idea, and I said, let's put that in. Let's check that as one of our things, and it fit fine. On the other side of things, we found that our jacuzzi, we had said, what's the size of a jacuzzi that fits 5 people? And then we researched that here. We gave it to the architect, and it came back, and his jacuzzi size included the wall,
inside
the wall. So he made
the wall and inside.
Yeah, and the walls for pool walls, they're whatever that is, 8 inches or something thick. They're pretty thick walls. So the interior dimension actually ended up being a 3-person jacuzzi with the thick walls. So if we hadn't measured that, we'd just say, yep, the whole jacuzzi looks great, but it turns out the interior would only fit the small number of people. So we clarify with him, this has to be interior size of so many meters by so many meters. And so that's extremely important, of course, when you get to building. So yeah, we had a lot of changes, minor changes, not really big changes, because we were so careful in the prior process. And then also, whenever we say something like, we don't pound our fists on the table and say, we want porcelain tiles, and we won't settle for anything less. We always say, hey, we're thinking about using porcelain tiles because of X, Y, and Z reason. But we'll always ask him, especially if you don't come from the Philippines, or you're used to only building a house in the U.S., there's a lot of moisture problems, differences, rain happening over there in the rainy season. So you don't want to start overruling the architect. That's our thing, is like just get some advice, get some feedback from those architects.
Yep.
Have I been talking a lot, honey?
Yes, that's fine, because for some reason I'm not thinking about this things about everything that what Barry mentioned about the about the video. So I don't know. I'm just here next to him listening and make sure that I'm not interrupting him several times.
Okay, my turn to talk now.
Okay.
So anyway, continuing with my long-winded description, I just have so much to say. I'm bursting with enthusiasm. I was going to say that when you are asking about anything like the width of hallways or the stairs, for example, like have you ever been abroad or even sometimes in the U.S. that you get unusual like stair rise and run? If there's a mistake in the how big the step of your steps is, your staircase, and how high it rises, you could end up making really uncomfortable steps. So
it could be dangerous too.
Yeah, just for tripping for people.
Especially for old people or kids.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that that's exactly standard. What's the standard of US? I mean, I'm pretty sure in Philippines it's the same standard of that.
Yeah. And then, we kept asking our architect, and whatever architect you have, you should probably ask the same thing. Like, what are the codes that you're using? Are you designing by certain code, like an international residential code? Or I understand around the world they have these different codes. You could just ask them and say, yeah, I use this code because in the Philippines we use this and that code. I was just going to mention that I use Google to search for things like what are the size of your stairs, the rise and the run of your stairs, or the slope of your stairs. But I also discovered that now that we're living in the future, I'm using ChatGPT. So if you just sign up for a free ChatGPT account, you can ask it for things like, what is the standard rise and run of a staircase? Or what are the standards that apply to residential staircases? Or something like that. And then it can give you those things, and you can always double check it, because the ChatGPT and all those things, they're not like absolutely 100% perfect yet. You can use those tools, especially ChatGPT, to avoid yourself reading through a lot of different design articles and articles about construction standards. It'll dig that up for you. You can just go and kind of Google what it said to double check it, and then you can say, yes, with the architect's numbers, we found that the architect's numbers were exactly within this international residential code, just because we use that ChatGPT.
Yes.
It gives you security so that you're not just going to go do something silly in your design or a mistake that you didn't catch in the design, and it ends up being like uncomfortable for the next 50 plus years for you walking up your unusual, staircase.
Yep.
All right. Would you like to add anything?
I think I'm good.
Let me continue then. So anyways, the architect also includes materials. So, for example, we have a pergola, and then he had put wood, and we're thinking, is it really, we want wood in the Philippines, or how are we going to do this? And then it turns out you can Google or ChatGPT those things and just get the pros and cons of each material and cost and so forth as well.
Yeah, and especially Philippines, if you notice that Philippines, it's like kind of like a prone to termites. It's the same in Hawaii. So you want to think about like using wood or wood material or any kind of aluminum or
PVC wood or whatever that stuff is.
Wool or something like that. So we were still thinking about that and debating which one we are going to use, But for now, at least, wood, it's more like, if you're not really... if you're not really worried about termites and all of that stuff, go ahead and use wood. But then for us, we just want to we want to just use anti-termite materials.
With the guidance from our architects, you can just go with that, and you can just ask them, hey, are we cool for termites here or whatever? Are we cool for moisture here? You can just ask them general things. At least, again, you're getting rid of the biggest problems where they hadn't even considered it or something. for us, we like to go into the details and say like, okay, they have wood things in the house. Are we okay for the treatments that they did? They do a treatment apparently on the soil itself to avoid termites.
Yep.
But then if you're using less wood, I suppose there's just less chance of termites getting in. That's kind of our logic is why put wood if they have a perfectly good wood, like a look-alike wood thing,
Yes.
you may want to go for that. So all those materials will be listed on these, as you go through these pages, you'll see notes about materials in there. But I wanted to say that not everything is on the list of materials. So the next item I wanted to point out to you was this thing called a finish list. You can see that. The finish list, it has some things in there that we use in our finish list, which is things like all the tiles or all the dimensions of the tiles or all the grout and the grout color or the faucets and all these things like the make and model of the sinks, all the way down to these small things. As we get more and more detailed, we put those things into an Excel spreadsheet. So this is just a representation of it. But it's so simple, right? Room, the item, and then all the details, model of your faucet, the exact model number and manufacturer and all that kind of thing in the finish. So
we learned all of this finish list from our past renovation in Hawaii. So we thought we could use this for for a building house too.
Yeah, and you can just go from the perspective, okay, just Google a finish list for residential construction and then download one without any viruses in it, and then or you can just use that, but then walk around your room and think, what did they not include in here? Like, did they include the window coverings? Did they say like cellular blinds or curtains, or are they automated or not? So all these things, whatever you can think of for that room that you just mentally walk around in that room, just put it on the finish list. It's better to have it marked down, because in our experience, whatever's not specifically marked down, then it could be a contractor or your architect who's going to say, yeah, just give them X, Y, and Z. I'm sure they'll be happy with that.
Exactly.
You end up with that because when the drawings come, they do choose stuff like you're getting ceramic tiles. So hope you're happy with that.
Yes.
So write it down. That's the best case scenario. And then keep this and, make sure you, of course, have meetings with your folks and say, hey, this is the list, man. Don't make any decisions. If you have any questions, ask me why it's not on my list. Don't just start being creative with our house.
Exactly.
So
make sure checked everything. Check many times, because that's the only thing that you could check before you start the construction. And make sure that you don't forget anything. Make sure that it wasn't like a mistake or anything that the architect might add up in your drawing.
And you'll get so many ideas from watching those YouTube videos about electrical residential design, even though some of it's probably over your head if you're not an electrical person. At least like we learned, how do you know how many outlets to put in your dining room, for example? Is it like one on one side of the room, one on the other side of the room? Or you, like what we've done, and we've gone from our house here in Colorado that we're happy with, and we go, okay, well, how many outlets? But those videos will also give you just something to think about. And then at the end, you'll have it in your drawings. You'll communicate it to your architect.
Yeah, and then actually we base some of our outlet that we look at our drawing. This time we base sometimes some of them like in our Hawaii that we did the renovation, and then said, oh, I want to have some outlet, like next to the kitchen bar and all of that stuff. So it's like some of them like completely different outlets, that how many outlet you put it in, in each room or kitchen room and all of that stuff. So just make sure,
Yeah, as we are going through this process, as you know, this is not something that we do all the time, but we're learning from it. And so we're kind of iterating. Like, for example, I'll watch TikTok, for example, and something will come up on my feed that's about, hey, why don't you do electrical this way? Like one of the things I saw was that people will like cut their quartz backsplash, and then put like an outlet right in the middle of the beautiful backsplash. And other people say, hey, wait a minute, you can mount it underneath of the kitchen bar or something like that. So it's not like right in your face. It's like,
it
if you have
doesn't,
yeah. So like there are things that we're learning from TikTok, Instagram. Just keep staying online and staying active with
Google
Yeah.
everything.
And don't forget
Google everything.
Google and ChatGPT and see what it
Yes.
says. Have a humorous answer for you. So, all right. Well, anything else to add, my dear?
Yeah, I think so far right now we are continuing a review with the architect drawing with everything, detailed everything, and we are waiting. For now, we're just waiting for the processing for the building permit, and then let's see how it goes. It might take like a month if there's no problem, and then if there is, it might take like, I don't know, a few months or so. We might get it in November. Actually, today's November.
Wait a minute, it is November.
You mean end of November or December? So we're not sure. And then, I think we just wait, and then while we have so much to do to review all of our drawing, and also some people asking what size of our land and what size of our built up area.
There's apparently some distinction between like the driveway, which is not regular soil, and if it's built up, we don't know if
I think built up area, I don't know, I'm not really sure, but then so far for the floor plan that we have, the size of our house, it's around, I don't know, around 400 square meters and something like that. And then the outside, not including the lanai, and then the outside area, parking area, and then all of that swimming pool outside. I think it's about the total. I just saw it on a building permit. It says 881 square meters. So yeah, that's pretty big. That's pretty big. So we'll see.
Yeah, I would say for the structure sounds pretty big. What did you say? It was around 400 something?
Something like that. Because it wasn't even like it wasn't completely detailed before. The architect is just showing it's 381 square meters. But because I saw it on the processing for the building permit, the total it's 881 square meter for the whole entire area, including floor plan and then the outside, everything. That's the total. But we'll update you guys with the real total of the house.
Yeah.
House floor plan and then everything once it gets detailed everything.
And I wanted to mention that our house is a little bit unusual in that we could have just not put a rooftop deck, and that would cut that 400 down pretty good. But we just thought when we looked at the plans of, you have a flat roof up there, you might as well have someone like standing up there, watching the beautiful view, right?
Yes.
So ours has another floor up there, which is really the ceiling, right, or the roof, right? And so it's not like it's a huge mansion house. It kind of just sounds like that because the rooftop deck is really a big area.
Yeah, for some reason they call it like third floor, right?
You're standing on the roof. If you ask me, I'm standing on a roof. But
yes, but now, we decided to put roof on that third floor, which is, makes sense. They call it third floor, Yeah. And also our lot size, if you haven't watched the first video about our buying land, that's what I think I mentioned, what the size of the land. It was 775 square meters. That's our land size with the view of Honda Bay in Palawan.
Yeah, Google it if you don't know it. Honda Bay, Palawan.
So yeah, it's exciting, and then we cannot wait, and we're excited and to build our house in Palawan, and hopefully we won't have a lot of headache and stress, and we're just gonna think about everything is gonna be okay.
The more we plan, the feeling we have is the more that we have written down and the more detail, that when they get out there, we won't hear these horror stories of like, you step into your jacuzzi and it's a 1.5 person jacuzzi because you neglected to make the detail about internal space versus extra. This is the time that we're saying the more we can do now, the less headaches we'll have later.
Yes.
Fingers crossed.
Yes. So yeah, we're hoping if we get our building permit approved this end of November or December, so we are hoping we'll start our building construction in January.
And then
At
it's all
least
smooth
the
sailing
beginning
during
of
construction.
beginning of January or second week of January, something like that.
Once you start
but
building,
we'll let you know.
Yeah, once you start building, I don't think you're gonna have any problems anymore. Right? It's all easy. That's the easy part.
Yep. So, all right. So maybe the next updates once we get the approval of our building permit.
Yeah, we're just gonna be doing what we told you for the next 30 pages of our document until we get done with it, and then talk with the architect about that, and then perhaps move to the next phase.
All right. It's our video. It's getting to be long. We should end our video.
We'll see you guys soon.
Thank you for watching.